Hello everybody and welcome to this lesson from Miss Duckworth's classroom. Today we're going to be looking at how to write up a response to a literature extract question, and this is part 2 of a 2-part series with a focus on the novel Great Expectations. So what did we do in part 1? So we looked at how to interpret and deconstruct a question, we looked at how to understand the extract significance, make notes around this, and how to analyse in time conditions. We also annotated for different techniques, brainstormed ideas, and then made a more coherent plan. Just to remind you, this is the plan that we had. Remember I said to you, have your various points, 2 to 3, just to form the body of your essay. And then on the extract itself, that's where you choose your 2 to 3 quotations. So this is what we decided in the end. So we had the different quotations. Remember, I numbered them. So all the 1s were for point 1, all the 2s were for point 2, and all the 3s were for point 3. And also had some analysis on there. Obviously, you will have analysis for each of the different quotations, or as many as you feel that you need. So just a quick overview of the essay structure. Today what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through with you the introduction and point 1, and then obviously what you garner from point 1, you'll then know how to construct point 2 and point 3. So I'm not going to go through all of this. If you do want to just pause the video and just have a little read on my advice and guidance for how to structure your essay, then just pause the video now. So this is an example of an introduction. Try not to do too much of your introduction. There is a tendency for the introduction to become just as bulky as one of your main body paragraphs. Really, the introduction engages with the question and it just gives a clear and focused overview. So as you can see down the side, those purple boxes, I've just given you the 3 different things that I have done with this introduction. And I advise you to just stick to those 3 things. So just focus on why is the extract significant, why is it key, or why is it important. Brief overview of the ideas that you're going to cover. Take these from the plan that you've got, take them from the brainstorm that I showed you how to do in lesson 1. And then just finally, just round it all up with what is Dickens doing? What is he doing? What is he showing you, and why? Try to keep it to 3 to 4 sentences. Again, try not to overdo it. I've also given you on the side here some academic language to help with your introduction. This academic language also can be used throughout the essay as well. So you've just got some adverbs. And if you pair your adverbs with your verbs, you've just got some really nice phrasing, as you can put here, but adverb plus verb. And you can see here, Dickens cleverly engages adverb plus verb. So you can use a variety of different combinations throughout your essay. So we've just got, in this extract, Dickens cleverly engages the reader by presenting the developed relationship between Pip and Magwitch. That is why the extract is so important. The entire extract is looking at that relationship and where we've ended up with that relationship. So I've just clearly, succinctly, that is what is significant. And then we've got this overview here, as you can see. And notice how I've also shown you which ideas I've just pulled from my plan. So everything that I've highlighted, I've got something similar. I've got the same keyword or the same phrasing from the plan or from the brainstorm, just to show you how useful all that is. So there's nothing that I've done that's brand new here. All I've done is I've just pulled from the ideas, the brainstorms, and the plans that I've already done. Through the description of the relationship between the 2 characters, so note again, I'm using my own keyword, so I've created a keyword. So I am using, obviously you've got the keyword in the question, but this keyword that I'm using shows that everything that I'm saying is going to be relevant, everything is linked together. This is a general thread of my essay. So through the description of the relationship between the 2 characters, Dickens is able to explore the significance, so note how I've gone for the keyword in the question here, of non-traditional family, as well as the change in Pip. So again, got that from the notes that I made earlier, and just on a side note, just this academic language of using the verbs as well. In addition, by creating a sense of pity and sadness, so this is in my some of the wording for my plan, Dickens builds up the pathos of this moment in order to accurately convey its significance to each character. By presenting their relationship in this way, Dickens is effectively offering redemption for both characters. Magwitch is able to die content in the company of surrogate son, and Pip is able to grow as a character through his generous act at the end of Magwitch's life. Okay, so really clear, covered the 3 different elements of an introduction, and now I'm ready to move on. So I'm just going to go through with you. I've just written up this point. Okay, I've done it in quite a lot of detail, just because I'd like you to see everything together. It may be that not all of your paragraphs look the way that I've done mine, and again, it's point one really. So point one could be one paragraph, it could be 2 paragraphs. So don't restrict yourself. Try not to think of your essay in terms of how many paragraphs do I need to write. It's really how many sections or how many points that you've got. So I'm going to do Dickens effectively presents the closeness of the relationship, and in order to try and show you every skill, this is quite a detailed section. So this is the example. I'll just quickly go through it with you, but do pause the video and have a read of it yourself. Even just read through, think about what you are able to do that's similar to what the example does, but also think, oh, I haven't used that kind of language, I'm going to make a note of that. Or, oh, I'm not used to actually exploring a quotation in that much depth, so then make a note of that. So you could equally go through and think, like, what do I already do, what do I not do, and let me make a note of that, and they can be like your own top tips. So here I've just colour coordinated everything just so you can see where I am hitting those different assessment objectives, where I'm hitting the different elements of the mark scheme. So you've got relevant point that shows my understanding of the extract. And then also everything that's blue is the reference to my own point throughout. Like I said to you, I've got my own keywords that I've created here, the relationship, that's my focus. Consistent focus on the question itself, which is significant. So synonyms, you can have significant, important, any synonyms will do. I've underlined all of my evidence just really so you can see how many times I've included it. And what you will note as I talk through it is not every quotation that I've used is explored in the same amount of detail. Some of them I need to further my point, to push my idea forward. Some of them I need in terms of analysis. So have a think about how I cover each different quotation. Anything in bold is like specific effect on the reader. Anything in purple is an analysis of a technique. Language analysis is yellow. My own interpretation of meaning, and again you'll remember that from the assessment objectives. What's your own personal response? How are you interpreting meaning? Highlighted green is writer's intention, so Dickens' message, what he wants us to understand, why he does certain things, and any references to context are purple. Like I said, as you'll be able to already see, there's a small reference to context. I'm not going to use context if it's not relevant. I'm only going to use it to further my idea. But equally, when you're talking about Dickens and what Dickens was hoping to achieve and his message to the reader, that also counts as context. Some added extras for you, for those of you that are really thinking about boosting your grade. Academic phrases are in yellow, and again use what I put on the previous slide in terms of using your adverbs and using your verbs, so you've got that to add as well. And I've also got linking phrases, quite a sophisticated way of getting from one idea to the next rather than it seem a bit disjointed. Okay, so let's have a closer look. As the extract begins, so I've said where it is as well, Dickens effectively presents the closeness of the relationship between Magwitch and Pip. By describing the interaction between these characters, Dickens is able to emphasise not only the family bond they now share, but also the significance of this relationship on both characters. So I've got my own keyword here, which is relationships. I'm also going back to the question, which is significance. In essence, it could be argued that Magwitch is the surrogate father that Pip has been searching for, and at last this relationship has been realised by Pip. That's my previous knowledge, obviously, of the novel and of both characters, but also my interpretation of the role that Magwitch is playing. Dickens skillfully presents the importance of this relationship through the motif of light, so I've gone into a technique here. So if you see it, say it. Being a criminal, Magwitch's life has been plagued by darkness, uncertainty and punishment. This is also kind of a reference to context as well, because we know that Dickens was very, very interested in justice and criminality. However, his relationship with Pip brings a positive element to his life, so this again is me analysing that motif and what I think it represents. This positivity, so note how I've taken a word here, taken a keyword that I've used, and I think, well, I'll carry that idea forward into the next sentence. This positivity can clearly be seen when Pip describes how Magwitch's face lighted up as I entered. And notice how my quotations, they're introduced. It's clear what the quotations are about. and they're embedded. And if you're not sure how to introduce and embed your quotations, again, do just have a quick look at some of the smaller, quicker micro lessons, just because they cover various different literature skills, and there's a very quick and easy method for how to introduce and embed your quotations. In fact, Magwitch himself refers to Pip's effect in this way as he describes Pip being a comfort when he was under a dark cloud. Could be argued, so whenever I'm this tentative phrase, it could be argued perhaps Dickens is. So it's quite a nice academic phrase to use, and it also signals that you're going to give your own personal interpretation. Could be argued that Dickens uses the motif of light, so I've gone back to this technique, to not only suggest that Pip has given Magwitch his life meaning and love, but also to indicate his redemption through his relationship with Pip. So just see how far you can take it. What can you say about it? Can you layer your interpretation? You know, perhaps it suggests this. Oh, it could also suggest this. In addition, I think it implies. Through the character of Magwitch, Dickens also shows us Pip's close relationship with criminality, thereby showing that crime is not distant, but is also not something that defines a person, as it is Magwitch's humility and therefore redemption that we witness in this scene. This link with criminality, so again I've taken this previous main idea, and I've pulled it forward into my next idea, my next point. This link with criminality is further emphasised through the reference to Hans, and now I've gone into the other technique that I already noted when I was analysing my extract. Throughout the novel, so again I'm showing my knowledge, this is AO1, showing my knowledge of the novel, but also bringing that into the extract to show how significant it is. Throughout the novel, hands are used to signify aspects of a character's personality, as well as their relationship with others, and Magwitch and Pip's relationship began with Magwitch's hands being used to intimidate Pip. So I'm not going to put that in randomly. I'm not just saying, yes, I know what happens at the beginning of the novel. I'm putting that in there for a reason, because it's going to help me to interpret something within this extract. And note how I then say, in this extract, to show I'm taking this idea. In this extract, hands are repeated several times to show the bond that has been strengthened. And most interesting, we see Pip's acceptance of Magwitch. One of the most poignant references to hands in this extract is when Magwitch has spoken his last word and wished Pip to take his hand and lay it on his breast. This act without words signifies the closeness of the two, so me interpreting what I think that action means. And the act of placing Pip's hand on his breast suggests an intimacy and trust that we generally associate with the heart. So I've interpreted that whole act there. I've tried to discuss the motif, but I'm also now thinking about that particular word. Why on his heart? Why in his chest? So I've then developed that and thought about connotations. Again, with the tentative phrases, perhaps this last act is one that solidifies their bond as something that does not need words, only gestures. So now I've gone back to my own point. Bond, same as relationship, so using various words just to support my ideas. Furthermore, so don't forget to use your connectives to add interpretations or add ideas and take it further. Pip's engagement in this act as he puts both Magwitch's hands upon his own shows he has fully come to love Magwitch and accepts him as his benefactor and surrogate father. And whilst this is indeed a sad moment, perhaps Dickens is inviting us to view the positivity evident in their relationship. This union of hands could therefore be viewed as a metaphor for a union of people who have come together at a point when they both need it. So again, what Dickens' intention is, what he's trying to show. And then I've said what I think it could also be a metaphor, also going back to this idea of technique. So here are my final tips for you. Do make sure that all of your points are clear. Try and think about going in chronological order of the extract. If you've got patterns in terms of pulling quotations together, then just make sure that everything is very, very organised and there's a clear direction to your essay. Make sure you're choosing relevant and interesting quotations. It should be something that you can comment on. It should be something that you've got a lot to say about. And aim for 2 to 3 per paragraph or per point, per section of your essay, whatever you want to call it. Use of the keyword in the question or synonyms throughout. If you see a technique, name it. You obviously don't just randomly name. We're not technique spotting here. If you see it, you name it and then you analyse it. So analyse techniques. Layer that analysis by going for a technique, but then also going for language choice as well. And this is what I mean when I say layer that analysis wherever you can. Link back to Dickens' mentioned intention. Link to the effect of the reader. Use context if it supports and enhances your ideas, and try to boost that up a little bit, boost up the sophistication of your personal response by using academic phrases throughout. And again, one last time, just do remember, if there's anything in here that you think, I don't know what she means when she talks about embedding quotations, I'm not sure what she means by layering analysis, I don't know how I would do that, then do just head over to the micro lessons section of my YouTube channel. There's a variety of skills there. They're quite short and snappy, and they're just aimed at kind of helping you to boost up the sophistication of your literature essays. So thank you very much for taking part in this lesson. I really hope that it's helped you in terms of not only working with an extract, but also pulling together that essay and making sure that it's sophisticated, analytical and focused. Thank you very much. Goodbye.